Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Well, I decided we might as well enjoy my Christmas trees. I want to thank the Fernandez family for giving me their ornaments. I really, really love them. And the furniture. Okay, you guys, this video is expect anything for 2021. What I'm doing is, like, I was brainstorming, I was thinking of all the unexpected things I could think of, and I came up with quite a few. I used to have these lawyers for clients, and I used to go, that's impossible. And they would say, no, it's not impossible because it happened. So I was thinking, wow, okay, what is all the worst things that could possibly happen? So I'll start out with the worst and then I'll work down. Okay, the worst thing is we could be attacked by our enemies totally unexpected. We could be sitting around, worrying about food storage, and our enemies could attack us. Most likely they would attack New York, they would attack Hawaii, or they would attack the West Coast, and we would be totally unprepared and we would be attacked by our enemies. Well, that's why we have the military, but the population could be totally unprepared. So the worst possible thing I could possibly think of is that we would be attacked by, like I'm in here, oh, what a beautiful Christmas tree, and attacked by our enemies. Also, our enemies could be within our own country and they could attack us. So that would be very, very bad. So, according to the book of Revelations, if we were just going to think of what we're doing is we're trying to brainstorm anything and everything that could possibly happen. Conquest, war, famine, and death. So these three, conquest, war, and death, kind of, sum up like really bad stuff. We've never had war on our continent except for Hawaii, but conquest, war, famine, and death. So now there's been predictions in the Bible. 1/4 of the earth would be killed by sword, famine, plagues, and beasts of the earth. The beasts of the earth could overrun us if they got very, very hungry. So, and then there's been a prediction that 1/3 of the beasts and 1/3 of the fish would die. Those would be the end time, like all kinds of like bad stuff. 1/4 earth killed with sword, famine, plague, and beasts of the earth. Okay, so a lot of us think, okay, in the Bible, King Solomon said there is nothing new under the sun. So most likely the judgments that would come to us would be the same ones that came to the Egyptians and for the same reasons. So the first one was judgment number 1, the water turned to blood and it was undrinkable and it stank. Okay, what the people were doing is they were worshiping a water god. The fish died and the river stank. Okay, this water god thing, there's a lot of these, the earth, the oceans, the water. So they were worshiping water gods. There's some things where they say they want to do psychic stuff and you go by the water. That is not a good idea because there are spirits in the water, near the water. So one of the judgments the children of Israel got was the water turned like blood. So in preparation, we will want to stockpile water for any disruption in clean water. Okay, now the fertility god, this had the head of a frog. So the people were worshiping. So all these things have in common is idol worship. Worshiping the fertility god who had the head of a frog. Now, the second judgment was infestation of frogs. I mean, it was horrible. The frogs jumped all over the land and in the houses, and the people were made miserable by the frogs. That would be bad. Okay, so then there was the god of the earth, and we're seeing some of this now. The earth, Gaia. So the dust of the earth turned to lice, and the people were tormented by lice. Not all the people. The judgments are for the people that are the evildoers. Okay, no. God of creation, movement of the sun, rebirth. Then they got the judgment of flies. And then there is the issue of Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies, and we are to be expecting flies, hornets, this kind of thing. So many that I assume a pesticide wouldn't kill them. Okay, God, there was an idol god, God of love and protection, head of a cow. The judgment was the cattle and livestock died. They were stricken and died. This caused economic disaster, food shortage, transportation disruption, military supplies, and farming, all destroyed. So, head of a cow. Okay, now this one has reemerged. Isis, goddess of medicine and peace. And we see this big, I mean, don't we see it all the time on TV? Science, medicine is going to save us. Isis was an idol god. Okay, so what happened? The people were stricken with boils and sores that no one could heal up. One time when my son was a baby, he got a little boil on his hand, and I took him to the doctor. I was hysterical, and the doctor said, "Oh, this is nothing." I had never seen a boil, and so I, administered the medicine he gave me, and he said, "I've never seen anyone heal it up." And I said, "Well, I put it on like the instructions said. Boils and sores." Still don't know what caused that. Maybe it was the vaccinations. Then there was the NUT, I don't know if it's pronounced nut god. God of the sky. Hail in the form of fire came down, and that was very bad. It was probably lightning, I don't know. The worship of the sky. Then the flax and the barley were destroyed, but the wheat was preserved. So they didn't starve to death, but they did suffer all kinds of hardship. Now this one has reemerged. Seth, god of storms and disorder. Okay, so there was a second wave of destruction. Hail, which pounded the crops down, and locusts. So all of these judgments had one thing in common, and that was idol worship. Okay, now the next one is Ra, sun god. We have him now. It's not totally uncommon. Worship of the sun. Also, Saturn and Jupiter is as close to the earth as it's ever been. So now for worshiping Ra, darkness fell on the earth. Unexplained darkness for 3 days. We could be seeing that one again. I have already instructed my son, do not leave the house. Now the last and final one that really was the end was the worship of the Pharaoh himself. And when this happened, finding out, and he did not let the Egyptians go, the firstborn of all the animals and all the people was killed, and then they were let go. Prior to that, they wanted to be let go, but they wanted to take animals with them to offer as sacrifices to God, and the Egyptians didn't want them to because, the animals had been destroyed. So then, all the people and animals were destroyed. So mainly what we would want to look for is the things, now in the end of days, the things we have to beware of are conquest, war, famine, disease, and death. And so it's possible we might be seeing more and more and more of this. So what we want to do is we want to strengthen up. So it's not if this stuff comes, it's when this stuff comes, we're going to survive. Okay, you guys, I hope you're being festive. I hope you're being careful. The disease could be a judgment. Not sure. The disease could have been intentional. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.